end of the month and it's time to lock in. Can y'all believe we are already halfway through the year? It was January about a week ago. Like, how are we halfway? And that's exactly why I'm throwing this ice cream in the trash. My personal trainer would be proud. What's up, Marie? What's up? But seriously, y'all, seriously, is there anything you told yourself you were going to be doing this year, but you still haven't done it? I'll give you a few seconds to think about it. Maybe it's drinking more water, starting therapy, going to the gym, resting more, setting boundaries, saying no, applying for that opportunity. You know it would be good for you. Like, I know that ice cream is not good for me. But for some reason, it feels so hard to do. And honestly, a lot of it comes down to one thing: your thoughts. Hear me out. Hear me out. Have you ever heard the saying, what you think you become? There's truth to that. Like, your thoughts create feelings, your feelings drive behavior, and your behavior quietly reinforces the very thoughts you started with. So if your thoughts are, I'll start tomorrow, one little one won't hurt, what's the point, I'm too late, then your body starts responding to those thoughts. They start shaping how you show up, what you say yes to, and what you believe you deserve. And before you know it, you stay stuck. That's why in this episode, I'm teaching you how to finally lock in using my self framework. Self stands for self-awareness, self-discipline, self-reliance. Do you see the pattern? It starts with self, with you. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And no message could have been any clearer. And yes, I just watched the Michael movie. But he's right. Before your habits change, your mind has to change first. And sometimes locking in doesn't mean becoming a whole new person. Sometimes it simply means becoming more consistent with the person God already called you to be. And honestly, treasure, this conversation is too important to rush. So this is part 1 of a 3-part series on how to truly lock in. Today, we're starting with self-awareness. Because you know what I always say, you can't change what you can't see. So take out your pen and paper. Let's go. So let's talk about thoughts. What are thoughts? Thoughts are things we say to ourselves in our mind every single day. Some are positive, some are negative. And the powerful thing about thoughts is this: not every thought you have is fully conscious. Some thoughts are automatic. They come from old experiences, old environments, past pain, childhood messages, trauma, habits, things you've repeated to yourself over and over again. That's why sometimes you can say you want change, but your mind automatically says, that's too hard. You always fail. Maybe tomorrow. Your brain is trying to protect you by staying familiar. Psychologists sometimes call this automatic thinking or autopilot thinking. Think of a plane. When it goes on autopilot, the the pilot doesn't have to do anything. It literally is doing what it's made to do. It's basically unconsciously thinking. It's a pattern. It knows what to do. And honestly, a lot of us are living on autopilot without even realizing it. We keep repeating the same thoughts, which create the same feelings, which create the same behaviors. And before we know it, we're stuck in patterns we don't even fully understand. That's why self awareness matters. Because you can't change a thought you never stop long enough to notice. And a lot of healing starts the moment you finally pay attention to what you've been saying to yourself all along. So let's start with this first part of self framework, self awareness. What is self awareness? Let's break the word down. Self is you. Awareness means to see. So self awareness is the ability to see yourself clearly. Your thoughts, your habits, your triggers, your patterns, your behaviors. Self awareness is noticing, I say I want rest, but I keep overcommitting. I say I want peace, but I keep answering calls that are stressing me out. I say I want confidence, but I keep talking down to myself. I say I want change, but I keep waiting for motivation instead of creating discipline. That's self awareness. It's being honest enough to recognize the pattern. Here's a quick activity. Take out your pen and paper and write down, what is one pattern in my life that keeps repeating? Maybe it's procrastination, people pleasing, negative self-talk, overspending, avoiding hard conversation, starting things but not finishing them. For me, it's eating ice cream and cake. Now ask yourself, what thoughts keep feeding this behavior? For me, it's, oh, one little cup won't hurt. Okay, I'll start next week. Okay, you going to the gym, you could eat that ice cream. And because of that behavior, it's usually connected to a thought. And I end up eating the ice cream. For example, I don't want to disappoint people. What if I fail? I'm not good enough anyway. I work better under pressure. And once you identify the thought, you can stop living on autopilot. I identified that thought and I threw the ice cream in the trash. And trust me, it's like right here. And I want to leave you with this scripture. In the Bible, Romans 12:2 says, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Notice it says, transformed by the renewing of your mind. Not your environment, not just your habits, your mind. Because your thoughts matter. The way you speak to yourself matters. What you repeatedly believe about yourself matters. That's why self-awareness is so important. Because once you become aware of your thought, you finally have the power to challenge it and change your behavior. And treasure, this week, I want you to start paying attention to your thoughts, not judging them, not shaming yourself, just noticing. Because awareness is the first step to change. I'm starting with the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. And in the next episode, we're talking about self-discipline. How to keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. I hope today's episode was able to provide a space for you to breathe. Bye.